Hey, IT Nation, Sean Lardo here with another episode of the Wise Up podcast. I'm with my co-host, Matthew Topper. Matt, how are you today, sir?
I'm doing awesome. How about you?
I'm doing great, thanks. For those of people that don't know what the Wise Up podcast is about and what we're here to do, would you mind shedding some light on it?
Yeah, so the Wise Up podcast is here to introduce you to people you might not meet at events otherwise. You're just in the channel, right? They're not the usual speakers, and everyone that we bring on the show, one has an interesting story to tell, but more importantly, has something actionable that you can take away and implement in your business or your personal, your professional life. Just something that you can take away and get out of the episode that's meaningful and utility content. And more, maybe even more importantly, everyone that we bring on just has a really good story.
Agreed. I think it's a way to get to know people. One thing I noticed in my early ongoings in my career, the only time you get a chance to see people was at physical conferences, right? And when you don't know anybody, everybody's a little uptight at first. It's not till the drinks start flowing a little bit sometimes when people start actually talking, right? And even then, you're still kind of off in your little group. So I feel like
it's tough, right? The speakers are kind of standing with their clique, and it can be hard to break into that. Like I know we're an open community. It's a little tough sometimes to break into those groups anyway.
It is. It's daunting, and it's some people have long history relationships, and they always gravitate towards them. But enough of us talking right now. This isn't about us, right? I mean,
it is not
about us a lot more. But today we have
our own episode one
day. I'm sure everybody could not wait to watch that. So, but this is actually about today's guest, which is Dexter Caffey. He's actually one of the contestants in Pitch It this year. Had a chance to actually physically meet him at IT Nation Secure, and his wife, as she bragged about being on vacation while we were working. But that's a whole nother conversation. So without further ado, why don't we bring Dexter on now so we can get to know him a little better.
Hey guys, how are you?
What's up,
man? We're doing awesome.
Good. Thanks for having me on.
How accurate am I that your wife was kind of bragging?
My wife, for all the listeners, my wife is a school teacher, and so they just got off. So they're off for the summer, and she was relaxing while we were working at conferences and meeting rooms and different things like that. So she enjoyed herself, definitely, Sean. You're spot on.
So she's hanging out by the pool while you're doing the work. I see.
Exactly, by the alligators, watching the alligators.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I mean, I saw her, she was so happy, like happier than any of us. Like, we're all happy to be around each other, of course, but it's just it's like you've been released from prison kind of happy.
Exactly. I'll let her know, Sean. I'll let her know.
It was in her eyes. I could see it. I was secretly hating on her. I was like, God, I want to be you so bad.
Absolutely.
But, so how are you doing today, sir?
Great. Here in Bentonville, Arkansas.
Oh, woo, Arkansas. I think Sam was just in Arkansas. That's a whole other conversation. Anyway, so for those that don't know you, Dexter, why don't you give a little bit of background on you and what you do?
Okay, great. Again, I'm Dexter Caffey, founder of Smart Eye Technology. My background is actually kind of interesting. I grew up in Ohio, Youngstown, Ohio, right by Cleveland and Pittsburgh, and my majored in business finance in college. And after a year or so out of school, I actually decided to start my own commodity futures and options brokerage firm. So I did that for over 20 years. Had several institutional clients where I did hedging, what's called hedging for. We trade everything from corn, wheat, soybeans, S&P futures, bond futures. That was my world for 20-something years.
Did we lose audio?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you sound good.
Okay, yeah. So that was my world for 20-something years, and so just really wanted to stay in that world. And a few years ago, I was actually at a conference overseas in Israel, and I was sitting next to this cybersecurity expert. And as I sit next to this guy, I really went overseas to really kind of talk to folks about what I was doing in the current business from executives that were from Atlanta. And so I was sitting next to this cybersecurity guy when we were in Israel. And I noticed when I looked at his laptop screen, I could see everything on the guy's laptop screen. And a wild and crazy thought went through my mind. I said, why should I be able to see anything on this guy's laptop when it's none of my business? I said, when a hacker comes in remotely, they've got the same access as this guy does. I said, what if we could create software that would really just recognize, let's say, my face every second I'm physically looking at that screen. And if I turned my head like that or walked away, we'd blur out the entire screen so nobody could physically see that screen except my face. That's how I came up with the idea of smart technology.
So it's an awesome idea. How did you get from the finance world to building software? Like, did you have experience in that beforehand?
Zero, Matt. That's a great question. What I did, I read everything I could about cyber security. I read everything I could. I read things from TechCrunch and other places and just got my hands on everything. And so what happened, I decided to partner with some developers overseas, and they actually helped me build out everything from a technology standpoint that we needed. So that was the key of getting with the right developers to help us build out the things that we needed at the end of the day.
What I really like is the fact that it's just from Matt. Matt's a cybersecurity guy from like basically birth, right? And you're not. So I know he's impressed by this, but it just goes to show you the level of what cybersecurity does is based off simple day-to-day use case that needs to happen, right? And that's typically where great ideas are fostered from too. So I appreciate that, and Matt's actually excited about this because he's gonna nerd out. So I'm curious.
Excited about it.
I know you are. So before he gets into all of his nerding out isms, let's talk about. Okay, so you're at a conference. You figure out some things. There's a need of some sort. How do you begin the process? And because you don't know what you're doing with it, how do you get involved? How do you find out how you're going to go, where to go? How do you find the right reliable resources? Let's say that.
Well, that's a great question, Sean. The group that I went over there with to Israel, first of all, I reached out to them and said, hey, listen, can you introduce me to some guys in Israel who specialize in continuous, like facial recognition, who were experts in that field. So I ended up connecting with a company at that time with experts who actually dealt specifically in the area of facial recognition. But what we needed was something different, not just a regular traditional one-time facial recognition engine. That's old school, that's out there. So what we created was the continuous facial recognition. So that means that every physical second that you're looking at that screen, we're doing what's called tracking. So we track the face, kind of like when you take your iPhone and you see that yellow box when you take a picture, you see a yellow box around somebody's head. Well, that's tracking. So we use tracking to authenticate the person who we've already tracked the face that we've already authenticated originally anyway. So that's our continuous facial recognition engine. And so it did take me a while to find the right developers and to raise enough money to pay the developers. And once we did that, then we started on our journey.
Awesome. And so how long did this journey take?
The journey has taken, the journey's not over yet, Sean.
You're right.
The journey has taken well over 6 years. We've been in development. And as you know, in any software development company, whether it was Microsoft or other companies, even ChatGPT like OpenAI, it took those guys 7+ years, 6-7+ years just to bring the product out and let it go to market. So what we've done just recently was to create SmartEye with that continuous facial recognition engine for your laptop and desktop computers. So in other words, anybody physically sitting in front of that computer, I don't care what you're looking at, LinkedIn, a website, or just your Word or Excel, doesn't matter. As soon as you walk away from your computer, we're going to block the entire screen. So if a hacker came in remotely, they get access to nothing. They'll see a screen that's blurred out. It's kind of like a screensaver, to keep it simple, kind of like a screensaver. So your entire screen is blurred out and your keyboard and your mouse is locked. So the hackers get access to nothing. Because a lot of times, let me ask you this question. Do you guys, like when you're shutting down your computer, do you just shut the computer down, like shut the lid, or do you turn it off completely at night?
Depends on where I am. At home, maybe not.
I agree. It depends on where I am too. Like if I'm at home, it's my office, it's my home. And I have my pistol not far away, so we're good. But if I'm at a conference and if I'm in public, period, unless it's staying directly on me, I typically just shut. I think I just shut it and goes into security mode. It goes into that screen.
Absolutely. So what happens at that situation right there, Sean? Your screen display is just turned off, but your operating system is still open and running as if you've never left it. Just your screen your display is turned off, not your computer. So at that point, hackers can come in remotely behind you and still gain access to everything you do that's on your computer. So Smart Eye blocks the entire screen at that moment when your lid is shut because we can't see your face anymore. So we block the entire screen. So if a hacker came in remotely, your entire screen is blocked, your keyboard is locked, and your mouse doesn't move.
And I think also, right, if you're on the road, almost the bigger thing, I don't want to diminish that use case, but is you get up to like go get some coffee or right, go use the bathroom or something. That I think right, you see all over LinkedIn this person left this computer unlocked. That right, you're guarding against that as well.
Absolutely. So even if somebody were to, let's say, Matt, you walked away from your computer at the end of the day and you were at a coffee shop. You went to that coffee shop, you went to the bathroom, and your display is still open. So anybody can have access to that data. So Smart Eye completely blurs out your entire screen. So nobody can see your screen, but just your face. And even if you were sitting at your computer and let's say Sean walked behind you, it would see Sean's face and block your screen because it would say, hey, wait a minute. Multiple viewers are looking at the screen. And it's because that's only for your face, Matt, nobody else. I know Sean's a pretty guy. I know he's a pretty guy. He's a good looking guy. So it will block the screen even with his good looking face.
We now have a video clip of saying there's software that sees Sean's face and blanks out the screen.
Exactly. You made history, Sean.
I make people faint. It's just, you can take it either way, good or bad. It could be like the Elephant Man kind of look, or Fabio. It's whatever. I'll do whatever. It's fine. Whatever, Matt. Anyway, on to important things not about Sean. So how long have you been doing this for again?
For 6 years.
And how long has the product been in market?
The product been in the market really just from last year as far as selling the actual, we had a Chrome extension, a Chrome browser. And in October, we'll bring out the entire desktop. So it'll be available for the desktop in this October. So for the MSPs that we're, talking to in ConnectWise, they'll be able to actually go, and we're going to integrate in ConnectWise. They'll be able to go and put it on the desktops of their employees or any company that they're associated with at that moment. And so everybody would be protected at that point. Because right now, your computer is naked. It's naked. It's completely wide open to everybody.
So I saw on the website you were talking about the browser as well, in addition to the whole computer. What's the different use case for that, or why would you pick one over the other?
Well, that's a great question, Matt. But some people may just want to protect certain websites. Let's say if you're in the financial industry and you go to a certain website and you're doing financial transactions. Well, you may not need it necessarily on your whole computer. You just may want to protect those certain websites. So we'll have an option for people to protect certain websites. So when you go to that specified website that the system administrator would have already had in place, let's call it a particular bank. As soon as you go there, we're going to recognize your face continuously only on that website. But if you go to, let's say, CNN or CNBC, we don't come on for that. We only come on for that specified website to authenticate your face continuously as you look at that particular website. Because if a hacker comes in remotely, which they do, and they gain access to that high-end data, they can wire money and move money all around. I'll give you a prime example. Here in Arkansas, I was at an event, and I was talking to a CEO of a bank. And what happened was the CEO said, this happened to our bank. One of our employees went to lunch, and when she came back, we were all standing around pissed. And they said, what did I do? What's wrong? And they said, why did you do it? She said, do what? Why did you wire that $100,000 out of Tom Smith's account? What do you mean? I didn't wire any money. I was at lunch with my friends. And they said, no, listen, $100,000 went out of Tom's account. When they went back and did a forensic analysis, they saw a hacker came in remotely on that web-based application because the computer's dumb. It thought since that person had access to it, they had the right to do that. So it allowed that hacker to come in remotely and to move money outside that bank. That's a real world situation. That happens a lot. It's not uncommon.
Absolutely. So you came into the space from outside of space completely. How's it working for you now? How's it working out for you? Because it takes some people 20 years to build a career in this, right? And because it's about building networks, right? So how's it going for you so far?
It's working out extremely well. We've been able to understand exactly who our customers were. We're dealing specifically in the banking financial area, and now specifically with the MSPs as well. So we've got a lot of MSPs here locally in Bentonville that we're starting to work with, who has a lot of use cases for the majority of their customers. So that's been very well received by the MSP world. It really has.
What are some of those use cases? So I can see the obvious raw security improvement, right? The walking away and privacy impacts. Are there customers using this for regulatory compliance or for things like that? Like what's the primary use?
Yes, Matt. So we actually have one of our MSPs that we're working with here in Bentonville. One of the airports here in Arkansas are using it specifically for a particular website, like a criminal website that they deal with. So they don't want anybody having access to that. So there's regulations around, who could have access to those particular sites because, you don't want that information just being shown to anyone. So now when that person goes to that website, then Smart Eye kicks on. And so only that employee's face could physically look at that information from that website. And of course, if you've got other employees who actually access that website, of course, them on their computers, they would be able to look at that as well because it's their computers and we'd recognize their face. So everyone who's logged in would be able to look at the website based on them being the real person who should have access to that particular computer.
Okay, so with that, how easily, what's it based off of the permission credentials? Because in a business that, like, I've been in businesses that had huge layoffs all the time, retention wasn't good, right? So they're constantly churning and burning laptops. How easy is it to change things, to change a different user? To obviously, if they follow best practice, they should be rebooting they should be stripping down the laptop, right, and restoring it completely. But we know that that's not always the case. So how does that work out? How easily is it to install, set up, create permissions, or whatever else?
Well, very simple because there's a control panel. So the system admin would just add or delete the employees that they want to have access to Smart Eye. So let's say you have a laptop computer, Sean, you're working at a company and you left the company. What would happen, the system admin would automatically be deleted because you're in Active Directory. So we're actually integrated with Active Directory. So as soon as you left the company, you're automatically kicked out of Smart Eye as well. So nobody has to do anything. So even if that employee kept, and one of the problems too that we've heard from customers, some of the MSPs that we're talking to, sometimes employees keep those computers. And if they kept that computer would be useless to that employee because their face has to be authenticated in order to access that computer. So since their facial recognition was wiped clean, meaning no face could physically look at that computer, when they turn it on, it's just basically a big brick to that employee. It's nothing, can't use it. So that data is protected.
Would you say the primary or almost the biggest benefit is I forgot to lock my computer aspect of this? And like coming to mind, I'm thinking like on my security threat actor hat, right? I probably have to already have compromised their machine to see what's on the screen. And so there's some value in, there's still some protection, but like thinking through this, the huge benefit to me is all of these. I forgot to lock my PC when doing something. I got up to get food. I walked away to the airport lounge. What have you gotten that feedback from customers so far?
Yeah, actually, I would tell you, Matt, yes, that definitely we have. But one of the biggest benefits is really from guarding against remote desktop attacks. 90% of all of your cyber, and you guys are in cyber as well, 90% of all your attacks start with remote desktop attacks. So the remote attack is the number one attack. That's it. That's what the hackers want. Because once you get the remote access, now you've got access to every computer in that entire organization. So Smart Eye says, I don't care if you didn't get that access. Wonderful, great, you've got that access. But unless Sean or Matt is physically sitting in front of that computer, you won't see anything on that screen. You can't do anything.
So in other words, what you're saying is if Fiveface isn't there doing the work and it's gone, literally nobody's going to be able to jump into your system because it's shutting down.
They can't. It blocked your entire screen and locked your keyboard and your mouse. And even in phase 2, what we're doing with the technology as well, even let's say you're away for 3 minutes. So we completely turn off kill your session. So if a hacker did upload, let's say malware at that moment, or while you were in front of your computer originally, we would kill that session in midway. So after 3 minutes, that session is killed. So that upload went to nothing because the session was killed.
Ah, very cool. It's a good idea.
Is it, Matt? Is it a good idea, Matt?
Is. I think it's a good idea.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Awesome.
Well, I'm trying to put myself in the mindset of the audience, and the audience is sitting here thinking, I think they're probably not quite understanding completely, because the audience is probably sitting here thinking, okay, well, like, yeah, the screen being blank is useful, but you're saying they can't even access anything at all during this when they're not in front of it, right? And I think that's where my initial question, and probably some of the listeners and viewers confusion might come from, in that, they're thinking, okay, I might have gotten system level access to view the display in the first place, but you're talking about, let's say somebody breaks into my RDP session, you're just going to drop the session. And so this might also be applicable to VDI environments or places like that.
Absolutely. So let's just say they're in there right now. Let's just say they're on a Zoom call. This is not Zoom call, but the name of your stream.
Yeah.
And so they're in here right now. So if I were to walk away from this computer and they were in my computer, they would actually have access to nothing, because we blocked this entire screen that we're looking at today. So the keyboard and the mouse is locked, so you've got access to nothing.
Okay, so that's a good point. That's I think going to be the key with clarifying when talking about this. That, because I misunderstood it at first too, because it sounds like it's really a like display block and blank, but you're talking about an all input and output block.
Absolutely. We're talking about keeping the remote hackers outside who get to those, because those RDP attacks are real. They're happening daily. I can't tell you how many organizations I talk to where this is happening to. And there's so much money being lost to this. And the solution is literally right here. So we've created that solution to guard against those remote attacks. When they come in, congratulations, you're in. You've got access to a white screen and a locked keyboard and a locked mouse.
Yeah.
What the heck can you do? It's,
and if you're watching this,
at that point.
Stop. Also, don't have RDP open to the internet, please. If you're watching this, get both.
Okay. So since you're okay, so you acknowledge, as far as the couple industries you're currently working with, the MSP space, relatively new to you, correct?
Absolutely. I knew nothing just 2.5 months ago, guys. I knew of the MSP world, but I didn't understand it. Let's put it that way. And it was an MSP here in Bentonville, Arkansas. Most of you guys probably never heard of Bentonville, Arkansas. It's the home of Walmart. And so he came to me and said, hey, listen, Dexter, I want to talk to you about, working with us. And so I started working with him. He said, hey, Dexter, you need to get this into the MSP world, because this is powerful. And that's how I found out about the whole MSP world through him, and went to several conferences. And we had a booth at one of the MSP events a couple months ago in Orlando, and they loved it. MSPs start reaching out to us, and this is exactly right down their alley.
Awesome. And so how do you feel about the space?
I love it. I love you MSPs that are watching this right now. It's different. You guys like to party. I found that out. You guys love to party at the different events. So, but it's a really great group of guys. I like it because the MSP world is real. They'll tell you exactly about pricing, what works for them and what doesn't work for them. And I love that, because they're helpful. They're very helpful in being honest with you, to tell you everything, whether it's good or bad, how they can work with you. And I appreciate that. Absolutely.
How's the response been so far? Are you seeing MSPs starting to integrate this into their security stacks, or is it focused on ones that have particular clients with regulatory obligations? Just what's the uptake look like?
Yeah, actually, at our first MSP event that we went to a few months ago in Orlando, we had a booth out there, like I mentioned earlier, and we had literally over 8 MSPs sign up with us just from that small event. They wanted to introduce this to their customers. So there's people from the medical field that they said that they could use this for, like, dentist office. There's also medical offices that they want to implement, even our Chrome extension, because they're using web-based platforms. So they said this would be perfect for those types of environments. There's also folks, like I mentioned, about airports as well. So a lot of amazing, unique areas that they see where remote attacks could actually impact that from a HIPAA standpoint, or from a regulatory and a financial world standpoint of view. But this is what they're seeing, and that's what they're jumping on. So most of those MSPs, they really are excited about our desktop as well. That'll be out, like I said, in October. That's it, Dexter. That's what we really want to have for our customers. And yes, the other ones are great, but we really want that desktop. And we call it the SETI mode desktop, SETI SETI mode. So the reason we call it the SETI mode desktop, and I'll be real quick, is because I did my DNA test a few months ago, and I found out that my DNA goes back to ancient Egypt. And I'm actually a descendant of the Pharaoh Ramses III. So if you Google Dexter Caffey DNA, you'll see it all over the internet. So I'm there, and it's crazy.
Didn't he kill everybody basically?
No. SETI is his father. No, actually, it was Pharaoh Ramses III, and his father, Pharaoh Ramses II, was the greatest one. So it's just SETI Ramses III, who I'm connected with, and of course his father as well. But the DNA was from his son. And so if you look at us, we look like identical twins when you go and you Google that on the internet. I promise you. Sean, I want to hear your. It's very creepy. Seriously, it's really creepy.
I will. Yes, I'll look into that. So, okay. So I'm just thinking about this as you're saying with industries and whatnot. Would this be a really good thing to offer to schools since they give laptops and tablets to all the students, and a lot of them end up having hacked issues from not locking their system down?
I think so, but when you're dealing in facial recognition, sometimes minors is really not the greatest use case.
I'm thinking about teenagers more than minors. Minors don't think about it. Teenagers do. Teenagers are the malicious ones, not the kids.
Right. I would say probably like the 18 for college students. I definitely say for college students. I don't know about those younger students like under 18. It's a little bit of a challenge sometimes to deal with that from a school standpoint. But yes, you're correct. You're 1,000% correct. It would be great, but from a regulatory standpoint of view, it's sometimes issues with in that area there. But you're right.
Yep. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we're almost out of time, so let me ask you the last question that we pose to everyone who comes on the show, and that is, if you could give everybody listening a piece of advice in the form of a habit that they should either start or stop doing, I guess in this case, in terms of securing their environments or trying to deal with some of the regulatory complexities you're talking about, what would that be? What should the key takeaway for the audience be on this?
Very simple. Turn your computers completely off at night. Turn them completely off. Not to shut the lid like Sean, but to turn the computers completely off, because all night the hackers have access to do their jobs, and that's what we want to stop.
Love it. That's good advice.
Thanks a lot.
I would agree. Obviously, I don't do it. So, but
I don't either. So
it sounds great. So, okay, cool. That's the last that we have here. Matt, are we missing anything else?
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about this in 25 other directions, but I think we have we covered as much as we can.
I totally know. I agree. Well, Dexter, thank you for coming on, man. We appreciate it. Looking forward to see how you do in Pitch It this year. Excited about it, especially with the good hair. Otherwise, that's all we have for now. Thank you for being here. Thank you, IT Nation. Matt, I'll see you on the next one, man.
Sounds good. Thanks for coming on, Dexter.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
I'm on a whole new level.